Welcome to another episode of PCN Life, our new show that highlights life topics in our towns. This week, we take you to Pembroke, where we spent the whole day visiting, exploring, and enjoying the many things that the town has to offer.
We also have a new on-set contributor. You've seen Jeff Hills on our health and wellness segments, but now we're going to bring him onto the set and talk face-to-face about health topics.
PCN Life also goes to Plymouth Fitness for information on bar exercise, and we're launching a new segment called Save the Date. That's where we report on events coming up in our communities.
It's going to be a great show, so let's get started. Here at PCN, we have the pleasure of bringing you the stories that happen in your town if you live in Plymouth or Pembroke, Kingston or Duxbury. But a little here and a little there really doesn't tell the whole story of your town.
So we got together and tried to come up with an idea of how best to tell a story that truly encapsulates the goings-on of your town.
We decided on something that we're calling a day in the life, and it highlights the things that you can do if you're passing through each of our 4 towns from morning to night.
That's right, Julie. And we'll be doing 4 installments of Day in the Life, and our first tour takes us to the town of Pembroke. Heading into the town of Pembroke, you have several options for your point of entry. From the south through Duxbury, you can take Route 53. If you're going downtown, you can take Route 14. We cross the town line by way of Route 27 through Kingston to get our day started. Settled in 1650 and incorporated in 1712, this South Shore town boasts a population of roughly 18,000 people, according to the latest census. And when folks in town want something to eat for breakfast, there's a good chance you'll find them at a restaurant just up the road from here. Named after the amusement park that used to occupy this area back in the early 20th century, the Mayflower Grove Grill has been serving locals and passers through since they opened their doors in December 2012. Located at 35 School Street in Bryantville, about a mile up the road from the Hanson town line, in this mom-and-pop restaurant, you're likely to find owner David Miglietta out back manning the grill. In the front of the house, you'll find locals occupying booths or getting that authentic diner experience by sitting at the counter and reading the paper while they wait for their short stack.
Well, we have a good following here. A lot of regulars come in, and as you can see, we're busy, and people like it. They all get fresh food. They enjoy the people that are here. There are a lot of friends coming here, and they bring their friends, and they bring their friends. So it's like it's one big family, if you really ask me.
But if you don't have time to sit down and eat, and you just want to keep things on the move, there's always the classic American standby, the coffee and donut. We found just the place for that combo on the other side of town on Route 139, and it's aptly named the Coffee Shack. This place is a real throwback to the days when your dad would take you with him to pick up a dozen in a plain box and grab the Sunday paper. No drive-through windows or fancy gimmicks. You want a donut? Well, find a parking space, use the door, and get in line. Depending on the time or the day of the week, there might not even be a parking space, and the line goes out the door. Luckily, we showed up a little after the rush. If this had been a weekend day, it wouldn't have mattered what time we were there. We would have been waiting. Most of the donuts sold here come from their home office in Marshfield, which has been there for 30 years. The store in Pembroke has been here for the past 10 years, and on any given day, you can see upwards of 300 people coming through the door. The most popular donut is likely the honey-dipped jelly-filled. Me, I'm having a plain and a black coffee. That's good. If I planned on justifying eating a donut, I was definitely going to have to exercise. A great way to steer clear of road traffic if you're planning on going for a run in town is to use some of the trails they have. One such place is on the north side of town at the Tucker Preserve. And if you're having trouble locating it on the Google, here's how we got there. On our way toward downtown, we took a right off 14 West down Oldham, and about a mile up the road, another right onto West Elm. From there, if you make it onto this bridge and you see this plaque, you've gone too far and crossed into Hanover. In 1993, Sidney and Harold Tucker donated this large swath of land along the Indian Head River to the Wildlands Trust. The land is guaranteed to never be developed and is here for the public's enjoyment. With plenty of river to spare, you can spend the afternoon fishing. The trails are great for riding horseback with friends, too. Of course, they're perfect for walking as well, and with the river right there, you can stop and admire it whenever you'd like. There isn't a bad seat in the house. And when all that hiking and fishing has worked up your appetite, you can head back down Route 14 to the Herring Run, where there's plenty of space to set up a picnic. Or if you'd prefer, you can just use one of their tables already there. In early May every year, dating back to 1976, This is the site of the town's annual fish fry. The event packs the place with kids and adults with food and games and all kinds of fun. But on a nice quiet day like this one, you can really stop to enjoy the nature that surrounds this spot. Not too far up the road from the herring run is the Ichabod Loring Farm. It's hard to describe, but there's a certain magical feeling I get whenever I stop by here.
The light on the property, Brian, is wonderful. It comes up in the east over here and it just bathes this whole yard in sun all day long. Sets in the west, and it's just the yard as such is wonderful as far as the amount of light and the sun and the different angles.
It's here that you'll meet two of the town's more eclectic residents in Peter Chamberlain and Marie Greenwald. Folks in town may recognize them for the honey harvest that they've put on here at the property every September for the past 20 years. We talked a little bit about just how important the months of June, July, and August are for creating the honey that they eventually harvest.
Those are the months that the bees really store up the nectar and pollen and allow them to overwinter, to make it through the winter. Fortunately, they produce excess honey that we take, a small amount, as harvest. But in their search for nectar and pollen, of course, they're doing good things. They're pollinating any vegetables or fruit trees, any of those agricultural products that really depend on the bee.
And those bees have plenty of resources right here on a property that covers close to 3 acres. And of course, it's not just bees here in the farm. There have been plenty of other animal sightings.
Once a duck came running across the yard, and we tried to keep it off the road, so he was going around, we were trying to cut it off. It's wonderful. We just love wildlife, and we love the fresh air and all the trees around.
But with upwards of 55,000 honeybees on site at any given time, it does make you wonder, do the bees ever accidentally find their way into the house?
No, they never come into the house. They come close to the plants, to the flowering plants, but they don't come into the house, no. I wouldn't mind if they did.
Years ago, when Chamberlain purchased this property, the big draw for him was this antique barn, which has since been painstakingly restored to what you see today. But more important, it's been the overall atmosphere of this town that's kept him here for all these years.
Pembroke's been a lot of fun. The first thing I did was join the Historical Society, since I have an antique home. And that's been great, all the different functions that they have. But I like the rural, you know, the atmosphere, the ruralness of Pembroke and the horse farms and such. It's been great.
While it was great visiting the farm, the day was starting to get away from us, and we'd have to leave town eventually. But we'd be remiss if we didn't stop at one of the South Shore's most popular hotspots, or cold spots, as it were. If the vintage pink pie wagon out front doesn't catch your eye, then the pink lettering on the roof sign surely will. A local landmark here in town for over 20 years, and under the same management for nearly as long, stopping by the Dairy Twist is a surefire way to know that you're a Pembroke resident.
A lot of the people that we get are regulars. We get a lot of regulars all the time. We definitely have people stop because he said, she said, you should pull into Dairy Twist. They have everything on the list of ice creams. Other people say that they do notice the truck or the sign just going down 53. It's fun when you get like newcomers in. They look at the wall and have no idea what to get, and it's a million taste tests and questions. But we get just about everyone coming through, so it's a good time.
We dropped by just before the rush hit on a summer weeknight, but even this seemed pretty busy.
On any given summer night, Sundays are busiest. We can push anywhere from 300 to 600 ice creams out in a day. It depends. A lot of the times you'll get the beachgoers at like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock for a steady hour, and then lull at dinner time, and then back to crowds again around like 7, all the way up until close. I would just hope that everyone would want to come back again and that we made a nice experience.
The end of my very long day in the life of has finally arrived. With a twist. Chocolate vanilla soft serve, that is, from Dairy Twist. Reporting for PCN Life, I'm Brian Sullivan. Ooh, that's cold.
We are pleased to have on set today a new guest, Jeff Hills, who's the owner of Healthy Appetites, which is a health food store here in Plymouth.
That's right.
Welcome. You've done a lot of segments for us on PCN News, and now we want a little bit more give and take, up close and personal stuff about what you do. So we're going to talk about a number of things, and can you start with something that everybody hears about and nobody knows what to do about, supplements?
Well, we sell a lot of dietary supplements. That is actually the bulk of our business. And dietary supplements can mean anything from vitamins, minerals, nutritional oils, herbs, bodybuilding supplements, anything along those lines. Anything that is a supplement to your diet, but not the primary part of your diet, would be considered a dietary supplement.
Okay. How regulated are dietary supplements, or are they?
They're very regulated. They're not regulated as drugs. So you'll hear people come on TV, often physicians, and say, well, be careful of supplements. That's not regulated by the FDA. It's actually quite heavily regulated by the FDA. It's not approved as drugs. So you'll see people say supplements are not approved by the FDA.
Right.
They're not approved as drugs.
Meaning to treat an illness or to combat something.
Literally can't say that we're doing something to treat an illness. It'll say right on the bottle.
Or deficiency.
Not designed to cure, prevent.
Right. They all say that.
Everyone's seen the label.
Right.
And we have to say that. That's an FDA regulation because that is technically the realm of medicine.
Okay.
So we do a lot of nutritional advice, but we have to be careful not to be doing, medical advice.
Exactly. So in your 20 years of doing
years,
this,
yeah.
Okay, so you've been doing this for a long, long time.
I have.
And you've seen a lot of changes in the industry, I'm sure.
Quite a bit.
Okay. What is the most common supplements that you believe people do need and they take on a regular basis?
Well, I think there's a certain foundation of supplements that people should be taking. You should be taking a good multivitamin.
And even the doctors agree with that usually.
Often, although, as we were discussing a little before, they'll say, well, if you eat a good diet.
Yeah.
You
But
don't
what's a good
need
diet?
that. Exactly.
What's
who
a good diet?
Who defines that?
Right.
And if you ask them, they'll say, well, look online, or I can have you talk to a nutritionist.
Right, right.
So that's the problem with them saying, if you eat well, you don't need a multi. Most people don't eat that well. I eat really well, and I still take a multi.
And it can't hurt you.
No, the way I explain it to people is it's the nutritional equivalent of having a seatbelt on.
Okay.
I drive really well, but I still wear a seatbelt.
Right, right.
You eat really well, fine. Still take a multivitamin.
Okay.
You'll be hedging your bets. You'll be filling in the little things that you may not be getting in your diet.
Okay, so a multivitamin every day is something.
That would be the first thing.
Yep. What else is?
A good nutritional oil, I think everyone should take.
A nutritional-
So when I say that, the thing that'll typically pop into people's heads will be fish oil.
Oh.
So a good omega-3 oil, I think, is essential.
Okay.
You can do something that has a combination of omega-3s and the omega-6s and the omega-9 oils. You'll see those more in a plant oil like a flax oil or a hemp oil.
What does it do for you? What do these oils do?
The omega-3 part of it, the main function of omega-3s is to act as an anti-inflammatory to offset the effects on your body of the omega-6 oils that are more often than not pro-inflammatory.
Where do you get those pro-inflammatory
You'll get a
things?
lot of that in your diet. A lot of processed foods will have
Processed
omega-6
foods,
diets
okay.
because they're shelf stable.
Oh, okay.
Omega-3 diets, you'll see if you have a flax oil or hemp oil, more often than not, that's going to be in the refrigerated section.
Okay.
Because it has to stay cool, it's heat sensitive.
Okay.
Whereas the other ones, the ones we see in packaged foods, they want that packaged food to stay on the shelf as long as possible.
Right. They have to put something in it.
Exactly.
Right.
So you've got to do the omega-3s to offset the other oils in your diet. And omega-3s are just not in a lot of foods because they've got to be done in a particular way so they don't oxidize.
Okay.
So we tell people, take a good fish oil. That's the easy way to go, unless, of course, you're allergic to fish. Then you don't want to do that.
Right. Okay. So a supplement in oil. Is there anything else that's really common?
Probiotic, absolutely essential.
And
Probiotics are the
that's a
beneficial
buzzword
bacteria. That's the big thing now.
Yeah.
So used to be that no one took a probiotic unless they had been on a course of antibiotics.
Antibiotics for a long, long, long time. Right.
That's the only time ever anyone took a
Right.
probiotic. We're seeing now that it's such an essential part of everything about us
Yeah.
that you really need to take a good probiotic to keep things balanced.
And that's the bacteria in your gut,
The
right?
good bacteria in your gut, which if you took,
Fighting the bad bacteria.
if you took every cell of that bacteria
Yeah.
compared to every cell in your body,
Yeah.
they outnumber us inside of us about 10 to 1.
I've heard
So
that. Yeah.
most of you isn't you.
Right.
So it's important to maintain that part.
Okay. So a probiotic. And is there anything else that's trending as very common now
Well,
for
I think
supplements?
certain things are going to kind of come into the realm of everyone should do this.
Yeah.
And the big one right now that I'm sure you've heard from your doctor would be vitamin D.
Yes. Yep.
Where we live in a place where it's very difficult to make vitamin D out of the sun.
Right.
That's vitamin D is the vitamin that your body makes out of the sun.
Right.
We don't live in a good place for that.
Right.
You can make vitamin D from the sun in our area probably from about Memorial Day to Labor Day,
Right.
maybe a little before, maybe a little after. And even in that period, probably from only about 10 o'clock in the morning till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right. So
And
you
if-
need a boost.
If
You
you're
need a
not-
boost of D.
If you're not out with enough
Yeah.
skin showing,
Yeah.
now think about that. That's between 10 and 2.
Right.
When do dermatologists tell you to stay out of the sun?
Between 10 and 2, right.
It's the only
Okay.
time you can really make D. So
Okay.
we're all pretty deficient. So supplementing is a good idea. Very important for mood. The thing people all usually know vitamin D for is for bone building. Very important for that.
Okay.
But there's so many other things that it does that it's really, really a vital thing. We're often told to do not enough vitamin D.
Okay, so it sounds to me like people really need to be educated. So when they come into your store, do they get educated as to what they should? Do you have conversations?
That's kind of our job. I mean,
Right.
if it was just a bunch of empty, a bunch of shelves with no one there to help you,
Right.
no one would know what
Right.
to do.
So people need to be educated about what they're taking.
I think they have to be educated. You have to be careful too. If you're on medication, certain things aren't going to jive with your meds.
Right.
So
Okay.
we like to kind of be careful in that regard.
Sure. Rather safe than sorry.
But I think people make better choices if they're directed by someone who knows what they're doing.
Okay. The other thing I just want to touch on briefly is gluten-free, because everything seems to be gluten-free these days.
Our store was almost exclusively gluten-free for a long time, and it still primarily is a gluten-free store. It's such a huge thing for people, especially in this area where we're all kind of in the ethnic groups that are, commonly sensitive to gluten.
Yeah.
So, people of Irish descent, people of British descent, French descent, Northern Italy.
Is that why
These are
there's
all
all of a
groups
sudden
that-
so many people have gluten allergies?
Well, I think part of it is that the amount of gluten in a pound of flour has doubled in the
okay.
last 100 years.
Right.
So people who wouldn't have been sensitive,
Right.
in 1916 are sensitive,
sensitive
in
now,
2016.
okay.
There's gluten
Times
stuff
have
in bread
changed,
that makes
yeah.
the bread stretchy and
Right,
spongy.
right.
So we love that.
Yes.
So the trend has been towards more glutinous flour, and that's been a problem for people. When you add to that all the genetically modified
Sure,
foods,
yeah.
Genetically modified foods that are designed, for instance, to create their own pesticides. The pesticides they do create are designed to kill the insects.
Okay.
That by basically
Right.
destroying their intestines.
Right.
We're eating that.
Right.
So
Okay.
you can't tell me that doesn't have some impact on our intestines.
Right. So our environment is really important. You've been great. That 9 minutes went incredibly quickly, but we have to wrap it up. So we'll have you back again. And the thing to remember is most people do need supplements of some kind, and you really should be educated on them and what they do.
I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
Be educated and get good quality stuff.
There you go. Jeff Hills from Healthy Appetites.
Thanks for having me.
Health and Wellness This Week takes us over to Plymouth Fitness to find out the benefits of bar.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Rosen with your PCN Health and Wellness segment. Today, we're talking about the benefits of bar. Bar is a low-impact, targeted strength workout that is influenced by the techniques of dance, yoga, and Pilates. We alternate between strengthening the anterior and posterior of the body, and that allows for a really nice balanced workout, because who doesn't want to feel and look their most balanced self? So what's fun about bar is it's set to upbeat music, it's energetic, and every week the choreography will usually change, and that keeps it interesting. It keeps your brain engaged, and it's super important for your brain to be active, not just the muscles of your body while you're working out. So some of the varied health benefits of bar include enhanced posture, improved flexibility, enhanced muscle tone, an overall lift of your spirit and your mind, and a really high calorie burning class. The first exercise that my students are going to demonstrate today is called a bar push-up. And what's great about the bar push-up is it's a nice way to work into doing push-ups without straining your joints, your shoulder joints, or your wrists. It's really safe for the body. You can actually do more reps than if you were on the floor. So it challenges your core, it engages your biceps, your triceps,
and it's a really great upper body workout. Starts to warm up the body and starts to increase your heart rate. The next exercise we're going to do is called a second position plie twizzle. And for this exercise, we're engaging the adductors, the abductors. We're working on your balance by coming to what's called a releve position. From there, we have different levels of complexity, which add a choreographic challenge. That means it's going to challenge your mind a little bit and get you also working in your obliques as we start to add some twists and rotations. The last exercise that we're going to do today, which is a great way to close your bar class, is called bar stretch. And for this stretch, we simply place our leg on the bar and we hinge forward from our hips, allowing not only our back, but also the back of the legs to stretch and release any tension that was built throughout class and allow the muscles to elongate. We're going to end in a really nice long arabesque stretch that releases the hamstring, the glutes, the back, and releases some tension in the shoulders as well. Thanks for watching. This has been your PCN Health and Wellness segment.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to our very first Save the Date concert and event calendar. Every month, we will be giving you a quick update on some of the arts and cultural events from all 4 of our communities. Starting with the end of August and the month of September. School is starting, schedules need to be coordinated, but don't forget to hold on to what's left of summer. There are plenty of outdoor concerts to check out. On August 25th and September 1st, 3D Guitars in Pembroke will be hosting the On the Green Summer Concerts at the Pembroke Center Town Green from 6 to 8 p.m. Don't miss some summer music at Pembroke's Bandstand. On September 3rd, head down to the Acoustic Summer Nights by Brewster Productions at the Hedge House. The lineup includes Jake Hill Solo, Matt York, and Sparrow Blue, some of our friends that have joined us here on the set before, while also being joined by Theodore Ruxpin. All of the fun starts at 6 p.m. It's live music with a great view. On September 14th, you can meet the Maestro. At 7 p.m., the Plymouth Philharmonic Stephen Caridionis will be leading a discussion at the Plymouth Library on the Phil's upcoming season. Don't miss this wonderful opportunity to meet the Maestro himself and get the musical scoop. On September 16th, the South Shore Folk Music Club at the Beale House in Kingston stop into their Coffee House series and open mic at 8 p.m. Wendy Keith and Mike Loriana will be opening. There is a small cover to help support the all-volunteer group, but it's well worth it. The South Shore Folk Music Club has been a local resource for acoustic folk music since 1978. On September 24th, help support the Duxbury Educational Foundation at the North Hill Country Club in Duxbury with local band The Waves. The event starts at 7 p.m. Tune in for more music, arts, and cultural events on September 29th for your October Save the Date concert and events calendar. Thank you. I'm Maureen Bates for PCN Life.
Thanks for watching. More information is at our website, and you can watch the show on YouTube.
Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter for previews and behind-the-scenes fun.
If you have a story idea for this show, email our news director or fill out a form on our website. We're always looking to tell the stories from our communities.
We'll see you next time on PCN Life.